Welcome to the Brain Factor Podcast with Joy and Laura, powered by Meridian Healthcare, approaching wellness with heart, one life at a time, one community at a time. This is a science-based conversation about real life. Our goal? To leave you with a few nuggets of wisdom, smile on your face, and maybe even a laugh or two. So let's jump in. Hi, welcome to the Brain Factor. Thanks for joining us today. I'm always here. I'm Joy, and today I have with me our guest co-host, Lauren Cohn, who is actually the CEO of Meridian Healthcare, which powers this podcast. So thank you for joining us today,
Hi,
Lauren.
thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Yeah. You've been able to come for a couple of episodes so far, or three, I think, or so. And
this will be the
been a lot of fun having you. And I thought it would be really cool to have you today because this episode is the one about all the effort. So I wanted to talk about this because we're always looking, I feel like we're always looking for a finished product. We're always looking for perfection in ourselves anyway, maybe not in others. And we spend our lives, we're so busy, we have so many different things going on, and we don't ever stop to think about how much we actually put in, even though, we had 152 things on the list and we only accomplished 150 of them. But we won't think about that. We'll only think about the two we didn't.
Yeah, I think that this topic really resonated with me. I think we often place so much focus on the end result, the finish line, what we did, what we wanted to do, and if that fell short at all, we focus on that shortage instead of all of the things that we've done. I think just recently, this really resonated with me because just recently you want to do everything. You want to do all the family things, you want to do all the work things, and you want to be all things to all people most of the time. And I had to be at a board meeting in Arizona on a Monday morning at 9 a.m., but I had a function for my daughter on a Sunday that she wanted me to be at with her. And I said, that's okay, I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do everything. I can be there all day Sunday. I'll fly out late, and I'll get to where I need to be by Monday morning. Well, best made plans, and with some of the airlines being impacted during that time, in October, I was unable to get on my flight. It was delayed several hours. I got on the phone, drove to Tampa, got a hotel, slept for 3 hours, got on a flight the next morning. My board meeting was at 9, and I didn't arrive to Arizona until 10:30 when I got to the board meeting. The meeting was till noon. And I was so frustrated and disappointed, and I was beating myself up. I didn't make it. I missed the first half. How could I do this? Instead of really focusing on, look at all the things I went through and did and accomplished to even make it there in the middle of the meeting. But that wasn't really the framing that I had in my mind at that time.
It was not the narrative. It wasn't the story you were telling yourself.
No.
And we're in such a busy, high-pressured world, and it's just, there's so much that go into it. So then I wanted us to maybe talk a little bit about, or think about anyway, I think we should all think about this, like, why do we celebrate effort in others but demand perfection of ourselves? So she's telling her story here, and I'm like, wow, you really did a lot to try and make everything happen, and you're over there like, but I didn't get there on time.
Yeah. Why do we? I mean, we hold ourselves to a much different standard than I think we would tell our friends, our family, our kids. I mean, we would never overlook all of the effort and say, but you didn't make it happen. We would never say that.
No,
of course not. We would celebrate that effort and that investment and look for the good and look for the accomplishments in those stories. But we don't look for the accomplishments in ourselves. We look for the misses and the gaps.
Yeah, so we want to think a little bit about effort recognition and what that is. It's, if you have, you said 100 things to do in a day, and you probably have 300 things you have to do to make half of those happen, and you put in all that effort and all that work, but if you didn't knock it out of the park or you dropped one little thing, I forgot to pick up the dry cleaning, And that's all you can think about is the one thing that didn't go right that day.
Yeah. And that can sometimes be a spiral, at least for me. Maybe I'm projecting here, but it can be a spiral where once you identify one thing that didn't go right, then you find another thing that didn't go right. And then you start thinking about all the things that didn't go right, and sort of dwelling in that place instead of, okay, maybe that didn't happen exactly how I wanted to, but these 10 things did. Yeah. And I really delivered on these. You know, it's one thing to maybe analyze where any opportunity was, but we get kind of buried in that sometimes.
Yeah. And that makes me think of self-regulation.
Yeah.
Like, all these things happened, and how can I recenter myself and, like, you know, start to refocus on what you did accomplish.
Yeah. Reframing that way. You know, taking that, and I think it takes time too. It's not just time, like, you know, a long period of time, but I mean time to pause, because that's often what it is. We're so hurried. We're going so fast. We're moving so quickly. We're doing 150 things, as we keep saying, but you're not taking any time and moment to pause. So you're getting swept up in what I like to call sort of like the tornado of the day, and the day starts in the morning, and you get swept up in it. And some things don't happen how you originally thought they would, or there's things that get thrown into that tornado that you have to contend with and readjust. And so you need to take a moment and say, okay, I'm going to regroup. Maybe my list and my target and my goal for today is changing. Yeah. You know, and maybe I'm not going to get to all of that, but here's what I can do. Yeah. And there's been some barriers, and I'm going to have to shift, but I can still get these things done, and today can still be a good day.
Yeah. And your brain reacts positively to praise.
Yeah.
So if you tell yourself, I did that, that was good. Like, you know, when someone says to you, oh, you did a good job on that, even if you want to push back like me and go, oh, well, I could have done better, I still appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it I don't know, it just helps you.
Yeah. And we're not, I think as a society, we're not often praising ourselves often, or teaching people to praise themselves. So I think it's something that takes effort, and you have to be intentional about it. Yeah. You know, how can I do that motivational self-talk and recognize the effort and the wins for the day. And
and if you tell yourself those positive things, it helps increase your resilience. I mean, the science is clear in this area, and your brain, like, all these thoughts go through your brain all the time, and you know how you react to it. If, you know, Lauren said, oh, well, this one thing went wrong, so then I focus on this other thing. But flip it and try to think about what went right, and try to focus. I've been actually trying to do this myself recently since I got so interested in this topic. So I've been telling myself all these good things, like, I have a habit, or it's not a habit. What happens for me is I drop things a lot, and I want to beat myself up on it, because I'm always like trying to get all these different things done all at one time. I mean, I want to make sure I have my bag in the morning, and, you know, my coffee is here, and this thing, and oh, I needed that tablet, and try to juggle all these things, and then I drop the pen, and I'm like, you're always messing everything up. Why are you doing that? But I'm trying now, as I've been researching this more, to say, wow, look, you're healthy enough to bend over and pick up that pen. Yeah. That is a really cool thing. You were able to balance all these different things.
Yeah. Well, some of it, I think, is also maybe being more realistic about what we are going to accomplish or get done. Yeah. I think sometimes it has to do with the fact that we're setting these sometimes outlandish goals for the day. Yeah. You know, we're gonna do it all. We're gonna get everything done perfectly. And when that doesn't happen, we're so hard on ourselves. But if we can take a moment and really look at, okay, this is how much time I have today. What can I reasonably get done? And maybe if I don't hurry, I can actually get more done. Or I carry less, I can eventually get more done. Like, have you ever seen, I don't know if you carry in groceries the same way I do, but
all of them at one trip.
That's the only way to do it. I have to carry a bag on my pinky if I need to. This is, you put it on your head, you put it on your back, you put it in your arms.
Do whatever you got to do.
You load up each arm, you know, with groceries. And the other day I was doing it, and my husband was like, "What are you doing? why are you bringing in everything in
Because
one
it's the
trip?
right way to do it.
That's what I said. But the car wasn't that far. A second trip. And he was like, why don't you take a second trip?
Yeah.
You know, like, why? Why does it all have to be done? I said, and I really didn't have a great answer. And the answer was, I don't know, because that's what I tell myself. I just need to bring it all in. And I think sometimes the day is like that. Do you need to bring in everything in one trip?
Constantly trying to cram everything in.
Everything. I have 15 minutes. I can get this extra thing done. You know, so some of it is that mentality too, that maybe we need to give ourselves a little bit more grace and take a second trip on that task and maybe go back, or you know, that can be done tomorrow, and maybe I don't have to do every single thing today.
Yeah. Well, if we overlook the effort and we're just focusing on the negative things, so our brain's going to follow whatever we're feeding it, we're at an increased risk of developing stress or chronic stress, anxiety, you know, burnout. We've talked about burnout on here before as well. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all the effects of the negative self-talk and the striving for perfection, and then not giving any grace when perfection doesn't happen.
Yeah. And focusing on the gap instead of the gain.
Yeah.
Like, what did I accomplish today? But what did I miss?
Yeah. What was a win, right? And you know, we used to do, I don't know if you ever do this, but around the dinner table, we used to do Rose and Thorn. I don't know if you heard, right? And so you talk about what your rose was, which is something great that happened that day. So we did this as a family. Like, what was something great? What was a win? What was a thing that made you feel good? And then what was a thorn? Something that didn't happen, didn't go your way, sort of was a disappointment or a frustration. And inevitably, every person can think of their thorn much faster than their rose. And so
that's interesting.
It's so, because those frustrations are rising to the top and they're sticking with us, and we're dwelling on those and we're thinking about those. And it takes more effort to think about the good things, unless, you know, something great happened, you got praise for something, you know, a really big win. We're often not identifying the daily wins. So I think that's something, you know, that I like to do. I like to do at home with the family, and try to think about, like, yes, you can think of your frustration, but identify one good thing that happened that day, one thing that happened to you that made you feel good. You did a great job, went really well, went your way. It doesn't have to be anything amazing. It could be something simple.
Well, we're in a society, I'm in a society, and by society I mean me, that focuses on results.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's what I'm
absolutely.
after is results all the time. I'm not taking the time to enjoy the journey at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, think about it in media, in work, in personal, in school, and all of these things. There aren't a lot of information focused on your journey or the effort you've made or the path you took. It's often about, here's how to get results, and did you produce, or what the outcome was. That's often the focus. So I think, you know, you have to be very specific about shifting that focus.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's also one of the things that come up a lot is invisible work. Yeah. So if I take out a list and I put the 10 things down that I want to get accomplished that day, which, by the way, a lot of people say that 3 is really what you should write down, not 10. But you don't think about every effort and every piece of work that needs to go into you accomplishing, even if it is just 3 things that day. There's always, like, pieces that we're missing, pieces even if you achieve the goal or the result, and people often will be like, oh, wow, you did that quickly, but you really didn't. There was the planning, there was all the making the sausage in the background that nobody saw.
Yeah, I think often we maybe oversimplify things, that we'll be able to get all of these things done because they sound so simple. And if you write down all of the things you have to do, there's so much of that invisible work that you don't even write down, you don't even consider, right?
No, you don't even count it in.
I just need to do these things. I need to make a school project. Well, I just need to put these things together, construction paper, and build it, and that'll take about an hour.
Yeah.
But you work backwards and think, well, I've got to read the instructions. I've got to go shopping for all of the, supplies. I have to sit and plan. You can't just start cutting and gluing. And this is, what seems to be a simple project that really isn't. Yeah. And I think if you've ever done, using this as an example, a school project, you know that whatever you estimate, triple, because it doesn't, not going to just take that amount of time. I have learned the hard way in helping with many school projects. But there's a lot of that invisible work, and same with the tasks that we do every day at work and at home, and things are rarely as easy or simple as we often present them to be initially.
Yeah. If you have like a dinner party, or you host a holiday or something like that, and people show up and it's like, oh, just so lovely, and the table is perfect, but you've been in the kitchen forever.
Yes.
I did something, I think it was just my family, like my kids and stuff all came over, and I made like homemade pasta and this, that, and the other thing and whatever. And it was funny. I looked at my tracker. My kitchen, it's not tiny, but it's not giant. And I looked at my step tracker for some reason. I was like, I wonder how many steps I worked today. And all I did was prepare that meal and set that table that day. I didn't even clean. I cleaned the day before. I had almost 10,000 steps.
Wow.
Making pasta.
In your own kitchen.
In my own kitchen, just walking around like on a treadmill,
Yeah, because but you would, if you had to guess earlier, and somebody said, how many steps do you think
I
you'll
would have
do
thought
today?
like 2,000.
Right.
I'm in this little kitchen, just walking from the sink to the stove to the KitchenAid to the, back and forth.
Things just aren't as simple as we anticipate or, think them to be initially, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so you know what? I wanted to talk a little bit about, because I saw Mel Robbins speaks on this topic sometimes too, and I was watching a podcast or video of hers the other day, and one thing she recommends is high-fiving yourself in the mirror.
Interesting.
It's very, very interesting, and I just tried it, and it's kind of funny, because your brain is wired to think of, what do you think of when you think of a high five? What just happened? Did you have a
something
car
great?
accident?
No, something great. You're celebrating
something. Cool.
Something.
Yeah. And that's all your brain knows about the high five, because that's all it's ever used for. So if you go in the morning in the mirror, or do it a couple times a day, just be like, hey, high five yourself. And you just crack up laughing.
Yeah, which I'm sure is also a boost of that feel good vibe, if you will. High fiving someone, the excitement, the celebratory nature of that.
High five! You're awesome. You're not going to go up to your mirror and go, "Hey, high five! You forgot to pick up the dry cleaning."
Yeah. I haven't tried it, so I'm going to have to.
Yeah,
and I feel like, but along with that, I think any of that, I've seen other things that recommend that self-affirmation out loud.
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, you say one thing in front of the mirror to yourself that is positive. Something you did really well, something that was a win, or you really nailed that today, great work. Or just you made it through the day. The day was difficult, the day was challenging, and you did it. And you did it with a little bit of grace, hopefully. And hopefully. Depends on the day. Yeah. But that's another thing I see is that, to actually say out loud, because of what you said, you hear that, we're wired to receive that information positively, and the positive impact that has.
Yeah. So what do we need to do? We need to start replacing what didn't I get done with what I did get done. Start replacing the negative factors with some positive factors. And if Laura was here with us today, she'd say, be careful you don't get into toxic positivity.
Yeah.
So we don't want to push that. We're not selling that. We want you to still, feel what you need to feel, think about what you need to think about. But these are other strategies that you can use to help improve your mindset and your overall mental health.
We just had this conversation, just a little thing to add, at work, actually, that a lot of times the work that we do is very heavy, and we're often focused on the things that didn't go well, or the cases that that we're not seeing as many results in, or the challenging cases that need more support, the times we're at a loss of what else to do, right? And so one thing we've asked, or I've asked some of our teams to do, is share more of the positive stories, put them on our internal, we have an Engage site, circulate them, talk about them at your team meetings, just sort of don't lose sight of the positive things that are happening, because we often tend, even collectively, to focus on the misses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really definitely start to reflect on your own progress.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, like, for actionable things that someone could do, you could every day try to list, some efforts. Like, think about them, say them, write them down, engage your brain in another way. What would you think of?
Yeah, I think, like you said, you don't want to get into toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Acknowledge some of the things that didn't go well, but what did go well. Have that balance of what, like I said, one thing you did great that day, one thing that was a win, or that made you feel good, or that is something you can sort of highlight, like your highlight reel. If you took a highlight reel of the day,
that's a great way to look at it.
If you, now, not a blooper reel, because I have those many days. That's a totally different thing. But if you had a highlight reel of your day, what would you want included in that reel? What would you want to go back and look at more? And sometimes when it's happening, we breeze through it and we don't relish it, or we don't, celebrate it, or we don't let that feel good, even that benefit even sink in. We're moving on to the next thing. We're doing something. We're just going. But really look back and what did that look like, and take a moment.
Yeah.
I think that would be something I would try to do more of.
Yeah. So we can, like, just to summarize, as we're going to be out of time here, so to bring this together, is like, your effort counts. It really, really counts.
Yeah.
In everything you do, showing up matters. Think of all the times that you show up. You get up every morning, you make your kid their eggs or cereal if you have kids, or, all the things that I know. In the morning, I walk through the house and I straighten up whatever the dog's messed up after I went to bed last night, or, if there's some spoons in the sink, you wash those, and then I get stuff together and I go to work, and, there's just so much that goes into it, and it's super important, and you need to focus on those positive aspects.
Yeah, focus on the positive. Give yourself grace. That's one thing.
Definitely.
Try to see yourself how you would a friend, a family member, a coworker. What would you say to them? You certainly wouldn't say, I mean, I don't think. I hope not. You wouldn't say,
maybe you're not.
I don't know. It depends on the day.
But
you would want to say, but you tried, and here are the great things that happened, and tomorrow we'll get back to it. So yeah. That's what I
don't
would
know.
say.
Find a friend and text them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am awesome.
Yeah, right?
Like, just out of the blue,
I don't know if you
wouldn't that be
send
cool
those
to
kinds of
really
memes and things that are like sometimes Joy will send me those delightful memes and reels that are like, this made me think of you, and it's someone that is, needing a lift, and it's great.
Yeah.
So be that for someone else too.
Yeah.
Be that for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And Lauren's going to be back again with us next month, when we are going to be talking about the arrival fallacy. So
it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Tune back in for that.
Thanks for listening to The Brain Factor. Joy and I are so thrilled to be having these needed conversations. We'd love to hear your feedback on this episode, so if you could drop a comment or leave a review with your thoughts or any requests that you may have, it would be appreciated. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Living a healthier and happier life starts with one step, and we're excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time.